Well, hello, my fellow zombies. That's the zombie from Roseman once more. Time index, if I can just see the phone. I don't have my glasses on. It's 2:48 in the morning. It's still the 23rd. It's Saturday, and who says it's got to be a most glorious day? It's basically in the middle of the night, and I'm doing this because I can't sleep. A friend of mine is in trouble, and I can't help him out, except to do this video for him or to him. Send out a message. You got your friends out here, my friend. Call him Skins out here because he's a drummer. He's a good one, too. He does it as a hobby, but he does it out of passion. Oh, he's also a worker of sorts. And he's a man of many talents and of many compartments in his heart that are breaking and ripped apart left and right. And the hardest damn thing is to talk about what he's got to go through. Because I know that I had a problem with that too. The first night or two was hard enough because we still had to deal with the shock of it. And then life kicks in and forces you to realize that you still had to deal with whatever's got to be done. He already knew that I had to deal with this thing a few years back when I lost my brother. In essence, we both lost a great chunk of our hearts. And the first week or two is usually the problems concerning about sleeping sometimes. We'll sleep, we'll dream, we'll see our loved ones there, and it scares the hell out of us, and we go through the lung compactor and the tear duct dehydrator, I would call it right now. He has family up there to walk him through this. Skins does have family down here as well. I met him a long time ago in high school. He was about a year ahead of me, a year or two. Zaniest, freakiest looking dude I've ever seen. He and another chap of his were quite the item in this one program I was in high school with. I didn't realize he was a drummer. I knew he was an artist. He had these comics he drew, gave to people left and right. Always with a big cheesy smile. Because he had the biggest heart during that time. He was just as young and as crazy as I. No, actually, he was a lot crazier than I was. He always knew I was a little bit of a standoffish, a little down and dour as it was, dealing with a hell of a lot of stuff at home. But he was making my day sometimes. And I hoped one day I'd be making his day. I would hope that I'd extend my hand out and hug the living crap out of him when he needed it the most. And there have been times he had done that to me too. We worked together at a job site once when I came into it. And he was on fire in that place. A lot of people liked him. But unfortunately, Uncle Sam called up and he got called away, and then I never saw him again. Not until decades later that I was hearing rumors about him being alive somewhere in Antelope Valley where I am. I didn't realize he had a wife and a family. And during my life of growing up and going through a lot of things in my life, he was having his family and he was having a career. And he was having his second career of being a drummer. These days, he's not doing so well. He had, it's still recurring, it's just in phases, a long illness for himself as well. His kids grew up and moved out to another state up north. And he and his wife just got, they wanted to see them so bad. They moved up everything they had and moved up north before they did. I was grateful to know him for a couple of years down here in the Antelope Valley when I moved out in '05. And I didn't realize Ziggy was still around. His nickname in high school was Ziggy. But it also gave him a new nickname, Skins, when I found out about him being a drummer. And through various friends that I got reacquainted with, both in the San Fernando Valley and up here, I got reconnected with the Zig Man. I met him. I never did see his kids or his wife though. Apparently she was having, and this is the thing of it, a long battle with her own illness as well. Excuse me 1 second. Throat was parched. He never did say anything about his wife, not that I remembered much. His kids, yes. Apparently, his wife was undergoing a lifelong disease, probably incurable. Apparently, her body and her soul got connected with the boss man upstairs. Made a decision. It was back on the 14th of April. I know what it's like to deal with a long-term illness. Me personally, I haven't had it. But I've had my mother dealing with it and my brother dealing with a lot of his. I know what it was like when a family member dies. And you see the one that you've been with for most of your life. Can't deal with the loss of anyone. She decided to pass on slowly. I don't know how it was in Ziggy's family. I know there had been happiness. I know there had been hardship and strife. But I really didn't think that there was so much depression and sadness that it would be overwhelming. My mother, it was overwhelming for her, and she couldn't deal with anything else. And she just decided to pass on. She figured her two boys will be alright. That's funny how our two boys felt like two little boys. Or at least one of them looked like a little boy. My brother had to be totally in charge because he was acting totally in charge all the time, being the man of the house. Ma relinquished hers when she felt like she couldn't do it anymore. And Dave had to take over. My David. He became the total guy in charge, making the rules, but also following Mama as well. And I guess that's what happened on September 18th of 2018. Well, I'm sorry. Fuck. September 8th. My brother passes away. Suddenly. Leaving me behind. And for a long time I grieved. Still do. Our friend. He may have lost other family members. He has helped other families of different sorts to walk with them through it, through their lives being living, but also realizing eventually they're going to move on. The hardest thing for us humans to deal with is dealing with people that move on from our lives. We are selfish people. We cannot deal with people moving on because we feel that much connection. And when we lose someone we have spent most of our lives with, it's hard as hell to deal with that. I haven't been married and haven't had that kind of relationship with a woman, and I wish I had. But I lived with my mother all my life. I wonder if that's bad enough. I guess some people would call me a mama's boy. Maybe I am. But I'd like to challenge those. How many of those people would have stepped up and been a caregiver to their mother, to their brother before they passed away? That was my job. That was my friend's job too, to his wife. He and his daughter and son-in-law. Very close, very tight-knit family. I have no great words, no poets to quote, no great command of the great literatures that I've come across, that I can ever come across, that can ever try to put a band-aid on this. You might as well go to a liquor store or a band-aid or to a drugstore and get yourself a box of band-aids, go over to the Grand Canyon and try to put that thing together. Or try to stretch it out as far as you can to make a bandage for it. An ongoing wound had never healed. And this one was mourning a great deal. There was a lot of mourning before and a lot of acceptance, and it still hurts like hell. Knowing that your partner is released from the pain and misery. And she's better off as a guardian angel looking over the family. She's better off out of pain, out of misery. I have tried to talk about what about the people left behind. We are the ones that carry on the legacy, the memories. We're the ones that have to carry the scrapbooks around. We're the ones that are going to have to fill in the spaces. We have to be the ones that carry on the memories and the stories of our lost to the best of our ability. And it's not that easy. Memories fade in time. Pictures fade in time. Stories fade in time. And without other media to keep it stored, without other stories that's constantly told to be refreshed, to be passed on from one generation to another generation. It gets harder and harder to hold on to that wisp. The will o' the wisp. This video is for him and his family. I could give you my heart if there's anything of it. I still have a hole, but it's trying to heal. I have memories of my own lost loved ones, and they're getting fuzzier and fuzzier. We don't lose the love, we lose the time. And time is either a healer or a thief, possibly both. Steals our memories. I would hope that time would have been kinder to a lot of us who still look at our mortal clocks and see when's it going to be counting down for me. I would hope one day that I would be worthy enough. But until I am, I just survive. People out there try to clump onto each other, rafts in time, trying to share what experiences they have, how to deal with it, how to deal with their own mortality, how to deal with the loss of their loved ones. How we keep saying that the deeper the grief, the more extensive the love is. Sometimes it's so hard, it crushes us in hospital beds. And we can't get up anymore because we have missed so much, so many. And we just give up. give up on life. I've seen it. I've seen it. I haven't seen it in others. I've seen it in my mother, though. Lost so many people she loved. If she had lost her best friend before Mama passed away, I think she would have passed earlier than that. Still, she lost almost just as close to her as anything else, almost like a daughter to her, a favorite cousin. And this cousin was a bright spot in my mother's life, in all of our lives. She has gone through so much with her family and through her own self and her own survival. She had gone through drugs, and she had tried to be recovering through drugs. And we've seen how the effects had taken her. Pieces at a time until she dies in a hospital bed. And the thought of that was crushing my mother. To the point I think she gave up. She just willed herself. Retrospect is easy enough to say things like this in front of you. My dear friend has been also facing his own mortality as well. I would not be surprised. No, I'd say if you still think so, then you have to do. A lot of us would understand and try to tell you, regardless of what decision's made, dude, you're still loved. You're still supported. And God be with you and Godspeed. It's never easy to deal with loss of loved ones. And especially decisions sometimes we have to make in survival and cleaning up the mess left behind. I'm still doing that for my own brother. Dave had to do that for Mama. And now it's my job. I have tried to do many videos over the past 3 years, trying to show things positive and negative, trying to talk about my own life like crazy, because it's the only thing I can do is share what's going on inside my head and my heart, to tell people it's alright to go through what you're going through. There's no shame in it. The outsiders, whoever they may be, if they haven't been through the same pathway, then it's just a head game for them. They don't know. They haven't been through it. They haven't felt it. They don't understand. Those who have lost, we know better. We're the ones that have to clean up the mess. We're the ones who are going to have to straighten up our own lives. We're the ones who have to deal with the loss and the pain and the grief. And for some of us who are actually going through ongoing situations, is it the right time? Is it the wrong time? And is it the right decision at that moment? The subconscious will do something. It will force you to make that decision based on how much love and how much depth you grieve this. It will constantly challenge you for the rest of your lives, of your mortal life. I have I have to constantly face that myself. I know I haven't been married, and I don't know what's that like. I do know that I've lost good people that I loved a great deal. And the older I got, the worse pains there was. That the ultimate is when I lost my big brother, then I lost a surrogate mother. And talking about it just delays the inevitable sometimes. But I'm still not convincing myself that I'm ready to go on just yet. There are things in our life that we come across that mean something to us. Things that, the little things, mean more to us in our living than it does when we're facing the other decisions. There may be some things that'll remind us that living is maybe one of the hardest damn things we've ever faced. And we keep saying that we can't do it alone because we have lost the love of our lives. And yes, I have lost the love of my life. I have lost a lot of people that I cared greatly about. I can't deny that. I won't deny it. I won't deny it. The only thing I can do is move forward and deal with whatever life happens to throw at me. It's not because I act like a damn Superman at this point over here and I'm showing how well I can deal with things. That's not the point. It's never been the point about personal strength. Because personal strength in this, eventually one falls. What matters the most is how many people can try picking you up and keep you up so you can keep moving forward. Different points in our lifetime, we need those kind of people. That's why the hands keep sticking out. I'm still walking it. You ain't alone. My shoes are getting worn and thin. How's yours? I got another pair of worn and thin shoes in my closet. You're probably going to fit into the size as we're walking the path together. You're not alone. Neither is your family. There are groups out there on social media that try to support each other. I prefer the physical myself. it's important to build up more networks because we need it not just for mourning our loved ones. We need it to live, quite literally. Some of us are dealing with unborrowed time. And missing of a loved one at this point over here feels like it shortens it up a bit. The only thing to do is to take it at a moment at a time and realize that when it is that comes, you'll know they'll be alright. On the other hand, I don't think I'm that strong enough to face death just yet. As I tried to talk about to people on my own channel here, I've dealt with death before. And not with people dying, but with me dying as well. I don't relish going back to that spiritual state again, not just yet. I'm still trying to deal with the mortal realm. Not that I'm here trying to collect merchandise or wealth. No, what I'm here is to enjoy life as much as I can. One of the moments of life is when you have to look at a clock and then your body keeps telling you, what the hell are you doing up this early in the morning? Go back to sleep, you bum. I relish sleep like crazy. I relish it. As much as I try to deal with the day-to-day activities of the mortal realm, as much as I have to deal with dirty dishes and a dirty household, and laundry is stacked up like crazy, as much as I gotta deal with a dog that constantly needs attention, and as much as pursuing a goal that I had screwed over myself a long time ago and hoped I would be able to rectify it in Ma's lifetime, but she's not here, so I still gotta do it on mine. I know. I'm telling my body about this when it wants to shut me down. So the only thing I could do is ask for forgiveness and capitulate to my own mortal needs. And to my friend, this is what you must do. Capitulate to your mortal needs right now. I know the emotional and spiritual will tell you otherwise. And I know sometimes the choices you've already made right now will be contrary. Despite the theatrics. But I would hope you'd still stick around. Because you still have family down here that still misses you. And still wants to see you. I'm hoping that you make that choice. And I have to live with the choice whether or not if you're going to grace us with your presence or not. We've both had different paths to go on, my friend. And I still call you my brother because you are my brother. You may not have been blood related in any way, shape, or form. You may not have been married into my family or me, vice versa. Did that ever happen? I don't think so. My brother was a spirit dude. The happy-go-lucky one still trying to deal with it and faced his own mortality. And you're still going to have to keep facing that again. But I know that one decision is going to, well, I know that decision is going to be bringing you close to your loved one, I guess. And I'm going to have to deal with that one as well. I'm going to have to mourn your ass on that. It's bad enough I'm mourning with my loss of friends, loss of family, loss of dogs, and of your beloved now, an adopted sister. I don't know what else I can say, Dave. I'll abide by whatever decision that you have, my friend. I just wish that I could see you one last time. I haven't been diagnosed of going to the other side yet. I still gotta wait for those quacks to look at me. No, I'm hoping to see you before you actually pass beyond. But if it isn't meant to be, then I still have to accept it, even though I'm going to be mourning your ass. I love you, my friend, my brother. Anyway, I don't know about you, but I have to deal with the mortal coils, and they're still trying to drag me off to the bed. Normally, I don't do these kind of videos in the middle of the night, but this one called for it. I had to talk to you. I had to tell the story. You know, I had a perfect day today. Let me tell you the story for that one before I retire. For a long while, I wasn't able to fix the meals I used to fix a long time ago. They required muscle memory, they required dexterity, they required a brain that actually worked, and materials needed for it. Some meals I was able to fix and others I wasn't. The simplest meal to fix would take a long time to cook, but still assembling the ingredients and doing the proper steps would yield a fantastic meal. One could dream and hope for. I dreamed and hoped for it, but I couldn't even do the damn thing in the first place. My brother could fix food like crazy. I couldn't. Oh, I'd fix it alright. I'm surprised we all lived and survived. But compared to my mother's cooking, well, I guess I was a lot better than she was. A simple, a simple dish that takes a long time to fix, as long as you have a pressure cooker. Ham and beans. Some people could do it as soup. Other people could do it as a stew. Other people just do it as is. And the secret of that is just to soak the beans. Simple. for a long while, for hours. Now, how is that able to be screwed up? I ask you. Impatience, excitement, not paying attention to what the hell's going on. Not following instructions or directions. Directions say soak the beans overnight, rinse them off. I did that as muscle memory a long while ago. I couldn't even do that for the last couple of times until today. Usually I'm dealing with the pinto beans, but this time it was navy beans. I had 2 batches of it. One batch screwed up. Excuse me. It was a lousy pressure cooker I was using. I'd gotten me a new one. So I'd built me a smaller batch in there. The first batch, actually the first 2 batches got me so disillusioned. I convinced myself I wasn't going to be able to cook ever again. I wasn't going to do anything right. How do you screw up beans? How do you screw things up like this? Then I tell you, I was impatient. I was rushing it. Wasn't following instructions. Whatever beans I had left, put them back in the pot, put them on soak overnight. Hours later, take out the water, put fresh water in to a point, season it up, put ham chunks in there. Need that. Season like in onions and Worcestershire. But that's how my brother fixed it anyway. And that's how I remembered our beans a long time ago. And how they had the flavor. So, put it on high, wait till it boils, and then put it on a low, and simmer for about 6 to 8 hours. During that time, you check on it every once in a while just to see if it's still cooking right. If it doesn't need any more fluid, don't touch it. If it does need fluid, touch it. Just leave it alone and just let it cook all day until finally around 6 or 6:30. I couldn't stand it no more. I figured it was about 8 hours. It was enough time. Put the damn thing on about 8 or 9 o'clock, so everything should have been ready. Then I started fretting. I started to panic. I thought I wasn't going to do this right. So I gingerly took a spoon and grabbed out one bean. One bean. I figured if it was going to be crunchy as hell still and not quite softened up, either I was going to wait another 2 or 3 more hours of delay, and grow hungrier every moment, or take the chance, eat the thing, and if it's gushy enough, it was chow time, baby. It was chow time. It was bliss. It was bliss. It was a confirmation to me, I guess heaven sent, that I still know how to cook. And I still had somebody watching over me just to keep me from screwing this up. I gotta laugh at it, David. I have to, because to me, This was the most precious moment I've had for about 3 years. I can honestly say I felt glad and happy about. Of course, there was another time I went to Universal about several months after my brother's death, and I tried to feel normal about it. I used to work at Universal Studios, but going back over there and seeing some of the stuff they had over there, well, that was all right too. But I still a bit of a regret because my brother used to work there, and so did I. Two different times, but it was still our place. That's the thing to get over. That's why I kept doing the videos, David, is to tell people like you and me that we're going to be facing lifelong triggers left and right. It's all right to go through them. It's part of the process. It's part of the process. There'll be a lot of things, a lot of events, a lot of memories. There'll be our five senses that we have monitored by the squishy organ we call our brain here that will either detect or not detect a trigger. And when we do get triggered, some in the subconscious you'll know. Because you'll start to feel the depression kicking in slowly. You'll feel the sadness building up a little bit slowly. Something that you'll see or experience will bring the changes. And before you realize it, you've already been going through it. Your body's just trying to get past the shock. I know there's about 5 to 7 purportedly signs of depression or grief to go through, the levels. And I don't know anything about them. All I know is day by day, sometimes I'm able to function, and other days I'm a depressed maniac. I'm a depressed fool and idiot. I'm that kind of a person. And this has taken way too long to talk to you about this one, but please, if you decided to stay on the mortal coils, check the channel. Check my channel. We'll talk. We'll talk. You know I ain't got an MD on this damn thing. But one guy going through it, hey, we do it together, pal. We do it together. Please. I don't want to lose another friend. I don't want to lose another brother. Let's just take it a day at a time, shall we?